fam? What's up? Welcome back to the CEO Pulse podcast, where you get the real, the raw, and the mind of entrepreneurship. I want to talk with my friend Justin Dorsett about the big issue of commitment. I skipped through your
It's all good, man.
soundtrack
Yeah,
and
no,
your
I'm not
intro, just
important.
because I'm committed to the topic that we're talking about.
Oh, it's all good.
Chicka pow, chicka pow pow.
I'm
pow.
flow it, baby.
Yeah. But yeah, welcome to the show again, man. Like doing this on every single Monday, or most Mondays, it's a very important thing. I think at this point it's one of my cornerstones for the week.
Yeah.
And it's pretty interesting to see how like the topics that we talk, that we bring to the table, they're very much applicable to the stuff that we're going through on a regular basis. Yeah. You walked in this morning with I'm gonna put you on the spot here.
Yeah. No,
With somewhat of a feeling of overwhelm, right? And I'm on the same boat. Sometimes we feel like the stuff that sometimes the effect of the stuff that we're doing, grows legs on its own, and then it takes its own momentum, and the speed can pick up. And
well, you even said it when that guy left, right? You're like, dude, what's up with you? You're a little antsy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I am.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you were biting your nails and taking your shoes off. I don't know why, but like, bro, we're doing a podcast.
Biting your nails and taking your shoes off.
Yeah, I don't know. Can you picture that though? Like,
yeah, it was weird.
Does it make sense? Exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I'm very good about like imagery stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sorry if you had to like picture that and then picture what came after that. I apologize. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Hey, whatever it takes.
All right, now that we're done with the fuckery, we can carry on to the real topic.
But I do want to touch on one point though. Yeah. You said like whatever we're going through is the topic for the show, right?
Yeah.
So again, never scripted, just off the cuff. It's real, it's raw, it's organic.
Yeah.
And case in point, like because we talk about what we're experiencing and to share with you how we address these things, deal with these things, whatever you're experiencing, we'd like to know. Like, comment, share, and let us know what topics you want to talk about. I mean, that's been our ask a lot, but it's usually at the end of the show.
Yeah.
So maybe some people haven't watched to the end. They don't hear it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we're all the student, the teacher, and the material.
Yeah.
At the same time.
100%.
Always. Yeah.
So one of the things that came up was commitment, right?
Yeah.
Commitment gets challenged as we're going through these just turmoils. It doesn't even mean that, it's not even a failure, right? Sometimes you might be in the middle of a very, very successful streak and you still feel overwhelmed and you still feel like, things are moving too fast.
I never say that.
And
I like
and
it.
and want to bring it back to or bring yourself back to center.
Yeah.
Right. And then you brought up the topic of commitment and the commitment ladder.
Yeah.
So you have this particular breakdown. I like how you broke it down. Actually, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, right? We one of the things that I always talk about is either are you committed to something or are you interested, but breaking that down and really understanding the nuts and bolts of what commitment is, I think. It's where we need to start to understand how much we're going to dive, into something. Are we going in,
100%.
All in, and what does that mean?
Yeah. So, right, because especially if you're doing business with other people, not just your customers, your clientele, but your employees, your coworkers, your business partner. Like, there's so many people involved. And so wouldn't it be supportive if we were all using the same definition for certain words and terms?
Yeah.
Like commitment. What does that mean to you? Yeah. And, I like it when a lot of people say, oh, no, I'm committed in my business, but not over here. It's like bullshit.
Yeah.
How you show up in this one facet is how you show up in all. And you can argue and debate all you want, but if you really boil it down and take a look at it, your integrity with your word, your follow through, you're like, am I willing to quit? Or am I going to see it to the end? Like all these things boil down to commitment. So
yeah. So with that in mind, how do you break it down? I mean, we're talking about the commitment ladder, and you mentioned that the very bottom of the ladder is the I will try mentality. Right?
Bottom one is I hope.
Oh, I hope.
I'm committed, yet I hope it works out.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's the lowest rung. The rung above that, I'm committed, but to what degree?
Yeah.
And then I'll try. And then I will until or unless. I'm committed until I get a no with that big sale,
Yeah.
and I feel like a failure. Or I'm committed unless so-and-so doesn't follow through, then I'm just going to do what they do, because why should I have to do more than them? Right? And then my favorite pet peeve, I'm committed, like I did the best that I could, the best that I can. That's all you can expect from me. I gave it my best. It wasn't possible for me to accomplish that, to see it through, because I did my best.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is that? Yeah.
Yeah.
And all those pale in comparison to the real commitment called doing whatever it takes. Like, are you willing to go and persevere and persist until you win?
Yeah.
Or when you meet obstacles, you throw in the towel, go a different direction, and then have the bullshit excuse of, well, it wasn't really that important to me anyways.
Yeah.
It's like, really? Because you started for a reason.
Yeah.
So I just find that, like, well, I'll say this. A lot of people, when they hear, if you're committed, that means you'll do whatever it takes to finish, to follow through, to complete whatever it is. Yeah. And a lot of people can associate a state to whatever it takes. It's an, that's going to require tremendous sacrifice and hustle and grind.
And it's also going to require a change of pace, a change of life, right? Oftentimes.
Well, that's what we think,
Yeah.
right? However, what I've noticed is, just simply for me, before I commit to something, I got to know, am I willing to take on the state of being of whatever it takes all in?
Yeah.
And if the answer is no, then maybe the end result doesn't truly align with me,
timing is
my
off,
core values, my vision, my mission. And I'm not willing to say yes if I know that I can't get all in and be willing to do whatever it takes. Now, the really cool thing about that too, that I've noticed, I mean, my experience with myself is, when I'm willing to embody that state, typically the process just kind of starts to unfold.
The whatever it takes state, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it's like just showing up with that state of being naturally makes things a lot more effortless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's about, I think, and I agree. I mean, I like the way that you break it down. Hope, want, try until it work, or until something happens, or unless, and then, well, the best that I can. I think the best I can is usually where a lot of people just kind of draw the line.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it, I'm gonna give it what I got. The problem, and I know that the problem with that is a lot of times we underestimate what we've got. What's his name? David
Goggins?
Doggins, yeah.
Goggins?
Yeah. I'm drawing a blank. I read the book. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't finish it.
But he talks about, having, is it him or shit? I'm now confused. I read so many books, and
Well, tell me.
I keep a note of the book, and then I forget about the other. But 40% in the tank. Like, when you think you're done, David Goggins, right? It's still him.
David
Okay,
Goggins.
Cool. Yeah, that's him. So sorry, bro. When you think you're done with something, when you think you're exhausted, and not just physically, right? But I mean, you're talking emotionally, you're talking mentally, you're talking, when you think you're done, you still have about 40% in the tank before you're completely done.
Oh, was it? I thought it was when you think like you've got nothing left, you've only used 40%. Did I get that backwards? You got 40% left?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
No, I mean, you get to a point where this is it, I'm done.
Yeah.
You can squeeze another 40% out of yourself.
40% out,
That's the thing. And you know what? I've tried that on for example, when I'm working out and doing that sort of thing. And I'll push myself, and this is crazy, but I'll push myself to a certain point, right, on a regular basis. I go work out with my son, and I kind of instilled the idea of just grading himself, like every time. Like, did you half-ass it? Did you do a 3 today? Was it on a scale of 1 to 10? Was it a 3, or was it and we find ourselves kind of gravitating or levitating around the 7, the 8. Effort.
Yeah.
But it's
good enough.
Yeah, like the good enough. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna kill myself every single day or whatever. And then sometimes I'll go and then I'll feel like, oh, that was a 10. It was a level 10 workout. But then I go work out with my trainer. And I mean, this guy, just big shout out to Rod, but this guy knows how to push me to that point where like that 10 workout was easy. You know what I mean?
In comparison.
Yeah, in comparison to that. So
this is good stuff. Somewhere to go with this.
It makes me wonder, right? Like, where else am I thinking that I'm done? Where else do I feel like I did my best?
I know where.
And kind of, pulled back from it.
You know where?
Yeah, where?
Everywhere. I mean, it could be no other answer. Now, seriously, like, and I love you. This isn't a dig, but everywhere, with managing self and the time of my day, my relationship, my kids, my finances, like, you think you're doing a good job, right?
Yeah.
You like to think so, and your results are great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. However, what you just said about the trainer, right?
Yeah.
Like, he really pulls it out. You know what I mean? Like, what's still left in the tank. And that's really good to know because, listen, we all have amazing faculties and qualities about ourselves. However, those are rarely revealed to us because they're not demanded. And so what would it be like to have a coach, right, in different facets and so forth, and have them pull that out of you on what you're really capable of? Like, and I mean, not just by telling you, but supporting you and getting into action so you can have an experience of how brilliant you are, your greatness, your creativity. You know what I mean? Like, brilliance, because we all have a unique gift and we all have a unique way of expressing that gift that nobody else in the world has.
Right.
However, are you committed?
Yeah.
Are you committed to pulling it out and stretching yourself so you can have an experience of you that's elevated?
And it's not a matter of accountability, right?
No.
I really don't want to, because the first thing that popped in my mind was accountability, but it's really not. So I don't know. I just want to make a distinction between that and then finding what you're really made of, right? When it comes to commitment.
And why don't you want to find out?
Yeah. We get tested. We get tested on a regular basis. I think it's like a muscle, right? That willpower. It's like you start working it out, and sometimes, or eventually, not sometimes, but eventually you get to a point where you become more convicted in your vision, in your path, in your word, in what you commit to do for yourself, depending on I think a lot of it depends really on the experience and the struggles and the successes and the journey, right? I don't think that most of us are just born with that innate ability to just plow through things and have that prodigy style willpower.
It's certainly a learned response, right?
Yeah.
It's nurtured, and I think so. You use the word tested.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anyone's good, bad, right, wrong. I like just saying it was another opportunity for me to practice that new personality.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because, right, you got the vision, who you're becoming, and you use the vision to define the new personality, right? So tested to me, and I used to operate from that construct. Why it didn't work for me is because it's always like a pass or fail.
Yeah.
And if I didn't succeed, then I failed. And I had a coach pointed out to me one time, he's like, who's keeping score?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, me. Well, where's the scoreboard? How do we know how you're doing?
Yeah.
And it's like beat up or praise, but oddly, you never really praise yourself. Speaking of myself, right? So it's like, there's no scorecard. You know what I mean? Like, I don't go to...
You're going off of the shitty scorecard.
Yeah, I don't go get a new coach and be like, wait for him to ask for my report card.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like God has a scoreboard somewhere. Like it doesn't exist. And so if there is no scorecard, why are we keeping score?
Yeah.
So it was just simply, this was an opportunity for me to practice what I think I know.
Yeah.
So I can have an experience of it and start to foster that new personality that would really serve me and let go of the old parts that hold me back.
So I know how I got around the I'll give it my best and see what I got versus the all in, the commitment side. Well, this is my best, but what about the collective best? What about the who, not how? What about sticking to my guns on the vision, on the out, what I want out of this thing that I'm working on, that I committed to, and understanding that there's different resources out there. That's one of the ways that I broke through that, right? Like I have talents, and I feel pretty confident about my own personal talents, right? And then I understand too that I get to some points where like, oh, okay, cool, I'm gonna have a difficulty with this. I'm gonna take it to somebody else who knows more about it, right? So that's how I got around that I'll give it all I got, excuse to just drop shit on and move on to something else, right? When it wasn't serving me. But how did you work your way to getting to that space where you're fully committed to something and you do whatever it takes?
That's a great question.
I'm telling you, I have talents. Didn't you hear what I just said?
Well, I think from a very young age, I just had that, and full transparency. I'll just be honest. I always am. Like, that's one thing I appreciate about myself is you ask me a question, you're going to get an honest answer no matter what. So I watched a TED Talk, and it all makes sense. This guy was an entrepreneur and started this company from scratch and sold it for just a ridiculous amount of money. And the title of his TED Talk, I forget exactly, but it was something to the effect of, why do addicts make the greatest CEOs? Something like that. And it made a lot of sense. So from a young age, I had some addictions. And now, before you get all judgy, addiction is defined as any behavior that you use to get short-term pleasure, relief, escape, yet causes negative long-term consequences and your unwillingness or inability to give it up. Now, based on that definition, how many of us have addictions? Right? So whatever your thing is. But I'll say this. At a young age, having those issues, I became very resourceful. Because, like, you're going to get what you want. And I'm willing to go over, under, sideways, like whatever I got to do to get what I want. So that, like, whatever it takes, that resourcefulness, I mean, obviously I switched that into serving me and being able to use it in business and so forth. But it's just something that I've practiced, I guess, for a very long time.
It goes to show, right? Like what I was talking about earlier, and then building that level of tenacity where you get to that point where you understand what you need to do, you commit to what you want to do.
Yeah.
A lot of it comes with experience. So if you're brand new to the entrepreneur space and you're getting in there and you feel like you're still lacking some decision, lacking some of that tenacity, that commitment, or level of commitment, right? Just understand that it comes with the trials.
I can say this, that doing whatever it takes. What I've noticed is, like, some of the results in my life that I've created that are really big were actually seemingly effortless, versus some things that I did in business seemed like a tremendous amount of work. Yeah. And I have sat with that. Like, what the hell's the difference?
What's the difference? Yeah.
It came down to desire. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you really want something and you enjoy the process of doing it, it seems like play. Like, there's things that you could go sit down and do, and you're so just entrenched in it that next thing you know, it's been 3 hours, and you're like, whoa, it seems like 10 minutes. Yeah. Right?
Yep.
Because you enjoy it. Whereas if it's work and it seems laborious, and it's hard and it's a grind, and because you don't enjoy the process, you tend to avoid and deflect it or procrastinate. Right?
Yeah.
So I think if you really decide the end result, is this really what I want, first of all, and why do I want that? And then, like, what's the experience I want to have in the process? Do I want this to be work, or do I want it to be fun? Can I turn my work into play and my obligations into opportunities? You know what I mean?
Would it be easier to look at things? And this is a self-reflection question, right? But would it be easier to look at things from a how can I become addicted to this standpoint?
Well, I mean, we seek out addictions to really.
I mean, addiction has it's got a bad connotation.
Yeah.
But again, it's we get committed to stuff we're addicted to.
Well, hey, listen, like if you throw a fourplex deal at me, I'm going to go nerd out with my pro forma and spreadsheets and analyze the thing. You know what I mean? Because I love doing it. So am I addicted to it? But I think there's a difference between, definition-wise, addiction and habit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because the addiction is, again, there's a long-term negative consequence.
From an energetic standpoint, though, I think it has a bigger grip, right? On you. It almost pulls you as opposed to pushing. A lot of times we have to push the habits. And the when you're really
discipline.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I don't subscribe to.
When we're really you don't subscribe to
No,
discipline.
I don't. Now I'm extremely consistent with a lot of things.
Yeah.
And so people can say, whoa, he's really disciplined. No, not at all. I was just having I took on a new coaching client today, had a first session with him, and pointed this out because he's like, man, I just want to be more disciplined. Yeah. And I'm like, why? I said, go back to a childhood memory when you were disciplined. Yeah. Tell me about it. Yeah. And it was awful, right? It's like when I was a kid, the emotional and physical abuse, like if you were going to be disciplined, that's danger, like sincerely. So now as an adult, like, well, you got to be disciplined. I'm like, you go be disciplined. I'm not. It's just a negative connotation to it, right?
Yeah.
But again, like making that switch, what about using desire to move toward what you do want instead of discipline? You got to move away from what you don't want.
Yeah.
Like they're just two different energies. So, it's all about reframing your perspective and your relationship to a thing, really. And how do you do that in a positive manner? But one thing I really want to drive home about this commitment ladder is the top rung, doing whatever it takes. In my opinion, it's the only one there is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because everything less than that is interested. And like my brother told me this, and he's like, go look up the definition of commitment. And it means to basically restrict. Yeah. Like there is nothing but that. Yeah. And how beautiful is that? Like you've decided. A lot of people say, well, I decided to start working out and go on a diet because I want to lose weight. Great. Yeah. What'd you do? Nothing. Then you didn't decide. Yeah, you had a wish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because a decision, if you think about it, you break down that word, decide. Side, the root word, really means to kill off. Yeah, think about it. Suicide, homicide, genocide, pesticide, to kill off, right? So if you truly decide a thing, what you're saying is there is no other route, alternative, or option other than that. Yeah. Therefore, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. So if you're going to be all into that degree, it might as well be something you enjoy.
Yeah.
I mean, you're married. That's a commitment. That means certain things to you, right? The construct of marriage. Yeah. And so, are you committed? And I know the answer, but I mean, that's more for the audience. You know what I mean? Like, are you truly committed, or is it an obligation?
Yeah.
Because commitment, in my opinion, is a true choice. Like, no, this is what I desire, and this is the end in which I desire to create. That's why I'm committed. So I don't have to. I choose to. It's a way different energy.
I mean, it also comes from a space of empowerment, right? When you're choosing to do something as opposed to having to do something.
Yeah.
And you choose to commit. You choose to do whatever it takes as opposed to having to do whatever it takes.
Obligation.
It becomes an obligation or a I don't know, you name it, right? A lot of times, okay, you have to do certain things, using our space, right? Disclosure and all that stuff. So you don't go to jail. Like you have to do things, to keep living, right? But when you come at something that you can create, that you can build upon, that you can really give yourself that space of fulfillment as you're going through the process, and you really commit, I think we're leaving out any sense of remorse, right? Because that's, I mean, if you wanna talk about it, when you're doing whatever it takes or shooting for whatever it takes, that's when you're really, giving it your all. Not when we get to that sensation of like, oh, this shit got difficult.
Which is what most people do, right? Like 80%. And so, if you're new to the entrepreneurial space watching this episode, like the reason this kind of came up for me today was because, I've started like 5 businesses in the last 6 months. Yeah. And so they're all startup, right? And inevitably, guess what happened? start the business. And he's like, oh, all we got to do is this, and that. And we're going to be at this point by then. And da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Perfect. It looks good on paper.
Yeah.
Right.
Spreadsheets are sexy.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man, it's going to be great. And every single time I start a project, a business, it always takes, I'd say, around 400 to 500% more than what I anticipated. Yeah. But I've learned that now, right? To not like kid myself, like I'm only fooling me. And so, but truth be told, I like that formulation, breathing life into it, bringing it to the market, because then once it's done and running, I can be honest with you, I'm bored.
It's you move on to something else.
Yeah.
Or shift your attention to something else. But it's really cool to be able to have the ability to create something, right? To create opportunity, to create or manifest something that was really just an idea. It came from I don't know, just a dream and a thought, a meditation, whatever.
An inspiration.
You see it realized. Again, that takes commitment. So one of the, I guess one of the things that we get challenged on a regular basis is the stress levels, right? How to mitigate the stress levels as we're going through this, the challenges that are thrown at us between commitment. And I absolutely 100% agree that committing is doing everything, whatever it takes. Everything else it's a variation of being interested in something.
Exactly.
Like, all right, cool. I'm going to push it. I'm going to run the marathon until I get tired. Like, all right, you're not running the fucking marathon. You're just running.
You're just running. Yeah. And we'll see how far you get.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You may not finish.
So you know what I mean? So it's, or I'm going to run the marathon until, like, I don't know, somebody passes me. It's like, then I'm not going to run it anymore.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. I'm like, wow, that's a great analogy, actually. But you know what I mean? And when, whatever it takes is like, okay, well, I'm going to run the marathon. If I get tired and I start puking, I'm going to start walking for a little bit and then continue walking and then have some water or whatever. I'll do whatever it takes to finish the thing, right?
Yeah.
On my terms, on my, whatever, but, at my pace, but I'm going to finish the thing. That's the goal. That's, the commitment to whatever it takes. Now, I think going through the internal battles of getting tired of challenges, or did I bite way too much, more than what I could chew, right?
Yeah.
It's like, do I have what it takes? Sometimes, especially when you're borrowing from other people's vision and you're collaborating. I mean, this is something recent for me, right? Like we're working on that, or we're working on something right now that's bigger than what I've envisioned by myself. Right. So usually my vision is okay, cool. I'll do, I'll stretch it. Right.
Yeah.
But I'll stretch it in my context.
Yeah.
Now I'm tapping.
You're level 10.
Yeah. I'm level 10, level 10ing my shit. Right.
Yeah. Which is really probably a 7, 8.
Conquering, doing my thing. Which, my level where I operate and based on the life that I want to live, it's pretty cool. Right. And whatnot. And I feel like I'm progressing. So, and then, the opportunity comes in where you have a collective vision with people who are, I don't know, 10, 15 years ahead of you. And their vision is like so much more robust and challenging and looks scarier.
It's a law of relativity, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it takes a minute to wrap your head around it.
Sure.
Yeah. So especially on that sense of the belief side. So committing like that, it's always going to be a challenge. Is the point I'm trying to make, right? Committing to something that's okay, cool. I mean, that's going to feel uncomfortable, but we'll make it work. Like,
exactly.
It's going to be.
How I deal with that is, okay, there's going to be things that are required of me in moving forward in this venture, whatever that is, where it's going to be uncomfortable. Yeah. And whether that's a commitment to a relationship, a business, it doesn't matter, right? Like, and just looking at, great. That's a sign of how much I love myself, that I'm going to give myself an opportunity to practice being different, to practice transcending what holds me back, to practice that new personality. And when I do get to the space of overwhelm and stress, because inevitably, right, I have one simple tactic that I love to use for myself, and it works every damn time. When I get too serious and I get overwhelmed, just remember one thing. You're going to fucking die. Yeah. Period. Like, no shit, no kidding. Yeah. There's going to be a moment in time, done. And so that's happening for all of us. And I think that if you don't really accept the fact you're going to die, you'd never really live. And when you die, what you're stressing about right now will not matter. Nobody will care.
Yeah.
And you won't care. So why so serious? Oh, it just brings me back to this centered space of, okay, let's start over here. Let me reframe. What am I in resistance to in such a way that I'm stressed? What expectations did I have that are not being met? And how can I approach this from a different angle, vantage point, energy? And because clearly the way I'm being with it is not working. And without that process, because I committed to a thing, I would not have a space to practice the awareness, integrating the personality, any of that. So you could say then, when you're willing to commit to do whatever it takes, you're going to create situations, circumstances, and environments for you to grow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're being the person that you need to be to do the stuff that you need to do, right?
Yeah. Or not, because sometimes we back away from those opportunities. But when you do, you know it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I mean, that's another rabbit hole conversation. But for the most part, it's if we commit to something, unless it's something outside of our control, at the end of the day, we know that we did everything. We didn't just stop at the first
gotcha.
Understanding of this is all I had. It's not like stopping to run a marathon because you got tired.
I did the best I could.
Yeah. Now if you're dying, and you're puking and you're like, I don't know, you're just shaking and can't walk anymore. Like you're shooting for whatever it takes to finish that thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. You camp out. You take a nap. You whatever you
little cat nap.
Eat. Yeah. And you're the last one to finish the damn thing, but you're committed to it.
Yeah.
So big difference between commitment. Anything below doing whatever it takes, and I'm going to highlight this because I want to make this the as clear as possible. It's anything below doing whatever it takes when you're committing to something is being interested. Anything.
Totally. And to kind of wrap it up, my final thoughts are the only way to truly respect yourself, honors yourself, is to finish the thing. And so the only way to finish the thing, to see it through, is to have that level of commitment. No matter what, I am willing, able, capable to do whatever it takes. And I won't stop until I win.
Yeah, so ask yourself the question, right? If whatever you're jumping into, whatever you're committing to is worth it, whatever you're committing to is in alignment with who you are, is it your truth? And if so, we have a right to pursue. We have a moral responsibility to pursue that. See it through, see it till it happens, see it until it becomes a realization of a real, just of our reality. And along the way, you're gonna find challenges. You're gonna find things that throw you off. You're gonna things that just create noise and want to throw you off track. Understand that it's part of the process. It's part of that getting. Builds thicker skin. Right?
It does. Well, and because of that. Because on the other end of it, you're more resourced and more capable. Yeah. Like, those things are happening for your benefit. Because without that, you wouldn't have strengthened your resolve. You wouldn't have grown. You wouldn't have had those new experiences to be more resourced. Like, thank God that happened. Yeah. I mean, in the moment, you don't think that, right? However, it is something you can practice so that when that moment happens, that obstacle, instead of freaking out or reacting, you say, wait a minute. How is this happening for me? Yeah. Let me come at it from a different perspective so I can get the maximum value from the situation. Because this won't take me down. Yeah. Unless I say so.
So understand what you're committing to and then go all in. I mean, it really sums up, right, the nuts and bolts of the conversation. But I think it's very, very important to have the awareness of that. Yeah. Justin, great convo. I feel better already. I hope you feel better already.
I'm better.
That being said, where can somebody get a hold of you?
Yeah, justinthorstad.com, social media, or my cell phone, 602-348-8534.
Boom. All right, there you guys have it. Do us a favor if you like the content that we're putting out there for you on a regular basis. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share, and drop some comments on the podcast as well. Let us know if there's different topics, different things that you want to talk about. We've gotten a lot of feedback, which is really, really great, and we appreciate that. We want to keep doing this for as long as we can stay in the hook. So tell us if you're engaged. Tell us if you're interested or if you're committed, right? With that being said, fam, love you all. Stay focused. You got this.